Okay, folks, here we are at Pap's house again. I'm running some, I guess, new light boxes for him so he can run some new lights. I'm hoping the sound and everything works out all right. I'm going to bring you along as I do at least the first one. Kind of new for me. I'm not usually much of an electrician, but let's see how things go. I got my stool set up. Now, we're going to go up and at least start the little hanger thingies on this. Get them set so I can run a couple screws in it. Well, looks like I got to go up one more step. Make sure I'm in sight. Yeah, there we go. Okay, where are we going to go? I'm looking for where all my stuff is that I need. Okay, we're going to go. Not there. I guess we'll go right here. We're going to put that up in there. Doesn't quite fit our joist. Let's see, can you see it? Yeah, you can see that pretty good. I'll get us some light up there in a minute. Right now I'm going to find my screws that I want. Well, I might have to take a pause here and go get my glasses, which I seem to have left out in my Jeep, just so I can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, place for 4 screws in here. I'll run a couple screws in here to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Let's turn some light on the subject here, folks. I've got my headlight on with me. Let's see if I can find the power button. There we go. There we go. There's some good light. That help you guys, I hope? And it seems to, but there we have the problem and the issue that a lot of people have when they're doing this is the flashing because it's an LED and the way they work. And I apologize for that. But this day and age, all I own is LED lights. So that's what we're going to have to deal with for now. Until I figure out how to I guess take care of that. And that's not going to be a right now thing. We're still kind of new to all of this. With as a content creator, we're still kind of new at this. So we're doing the best we can with what we've got. Center that in there nice. Now we'll get the wire and we'll go over that. Let's see, where's my tool bag? There's my tool bag. Now these aren't too hard, folks. It's a little time consuming, but again, they're not too hard. Okay, folks, here we are again. Well, we're here at Pap's today. We're helping him put some lights up in his basement. So we already got the mount up that runs between the joists, as you can see. Now, I know the lighting's not the greatest. I do have my headlamp on, but the thing with my headlamp is it is LED, so it's not going to be the best lighting. But I'm going to do my best to make sure I keep light up here. Now that we got this up in position, We got to put a couple screws in it to hold it in place. I like to put at least one on each side. It's not going to be holding that much of a heavy light. And we're going into a floor joist, so it's not going to be too bad weight-wise. These go in pretty good. They go up between the joists. Put a couple screws in them. Then you get it centered in your joist or wherever you need it. And you tighten up the screws that are in the base of it, if you can get it on it. That keeps it from sliding. So let me go get, I don't think I can reach the wire from here. Nope, let me get the wire, put my driver down, and we'll start getting the wire and everything into place. Let's see. I gotta be having the dropsies here, folks. So let's see what we can do about that. Now, the wiring I'm using has been here in this house since he built this house a long time ago. So we're kind of using what he's got. And he was kind of the master at using what he had. So what we're using here to run from the junction box is we are using extension cord. Why? Because that's what was hanging here, running his old fluorescent lights. He had the 4-foot fluorescent lights, and he had a mess of them floating around down here because he has a workshop down here. So let's see if that hole's big enough. Nope, not quite. Me and these boxes on this have not had a very good relationship. Now, we'll get this in here. I hope I'm not blocking your view too much. Get this pulled up fairly tight. Now, one of the things that I was taught years ago is when you get this up here like this, and you get it in your box, you want to tighten a knot so it keeps from pulling it back out. And we'll let it hang there. Now, the other thing I like to know before I get into these is I like to know if we got power on this. So, here's the end of the line. Here's my power tester. This will light up if there's power. Well, guess what? We got power on this. We've got to be careful. So, not one of my favorite things to fool with. I'm not a fan of electricity. I can usually get the job done. But again, like I said, I'm not a huge fan. And I'm not quite sure. Ouch! Whew! Well, folks, that's what you don't want to do while you're working with electricity. Whew. Now that I've changed my shorts and I've recuperated, again, this is my house, so I'm not quite sure where the power came from. But you know what? After a little bit of digging and shutting lights off and testing again, guess what? Whew. I'm awake now. Let the tester show me what's going on. Now, I tested this 3 or 4 times until I found the switch that shut it off. So, whew, like I said, I'm awake now, folks. Again, not something I wanted to do. But, you know, if you're fooling with a lot of electricity, that can happen. The one thing that saved me there, folks, from really getting hurt was I was using a set of electrical splicer or strippers and cutters and the whole 9 yards that I carry when I'm working on electricity. And they were insulated. So, yes, it scared me. It scared me pretty bad. I had to go change my shorts. So, as a beginner electrician's tip, when in doubt, find a power outlet. Don't try to do that with power on it. I'll tell you one thing. If I find another one of these things I got to do for Pat that has electricity on it, I'm going to tell him where to put this electricity. But it's one of them things. We do what we got to do to help Pap out. So let me show you these strippers that I use. These are a pair of electrician strippers and cutters and the whole 9 yards. I have used these for many, many years, and they've done me pretty good. And as you noticed just now, I got a pretty good shock when that went off. But I didn't, well, there was a pretty good arc across these wires. But you know what? I didn't get hurt. Thank you, Lord. So we're going to go about this. We're going to strip these wires back about 1/4 of an inch. These are extension cord wires. So these are the multi-strand wires, which when I'm running household electric, personally I'm not a fan of using because it's a little bit harder to put onto the back of the outlet because it doesn't hold its shape very well. Stripping this can be a pain. So, okay, I give these a couple twists to make it somewhat easier to put in the back of the outlet, or the back of the outlet, whatever you want to call it, fixture. I'm going to pause you here. I'm going to take a break, and we'll get the rest of the equipment that we need to put this together, and then we'll be right back. Okay, folks, we're back. We got the rest of our stuff together. We got the light socket. Got a couple screws here. I'm going to run these into this box first to help. Basically, once I get the wires connected, this will help hold the socket so I can get it put up in there. I did one of these earlier as a test run to see how things was going to go. It went pretty good, except that that's one of them that's the opposite of this. I couldn't find where the light switch was for this one. So this is one I might have to have Pap come help me with. So here's the outlet. We can see this here pretty good. Now at one time these outlets used to be porcelain. I'd installed a million of these over the years. But nowadays these aren't porcelain. These are plastic. But they work pretty much the same way. We're going to run the black wire to the copper screw. See, there's a copper and there's a silver. So we're going to run this to the copper screw. Put a little twist on it. So as it tightens, as we tighten the screw, it pulls the cable or the wire into itself, and it can't fray out as easy. We're going to do the same thing over here on the silver one, which is the white wire. We'll put it under the screw. I'm not much of an electrician, folks. But I do what I can to help folks. Pap needs a little bit of help. He's getting up there in age, so he can't do this anymore. This is the type of stuff he lived for. Now, you don't want to look at the wiring that he's got going on here in this house. Again, he's got extension cords run between lights. He's got junction boxes that have 20 and 30 wires coming out of them. 2 of them might be extension cord wires. It's one of them things when you don't have a lot of money, you make do with what you got. And that's exactly what he did over the years when him and his wife built this place. Nothing against Pap and Nan, but one of them things, they did what they could to get by. Same thing that most people do. They do what they can to get by. Now we're going to, oops. Yeah, we're going to put that in there. I guess I can't put this one in right now, can I? Yeah, I can. Put this one in. We'll get this one lined up. Give it a little turn. I'll get the little Ugga Dugga machine up here. I don't run them all the way up tight. Get them close, folks. You don't need to run them all the way up tight and break this plastic, which will... I've done that a couple times over the years trying to put these up. Not a fan of the plastic ones. I like the porcelain ones. But you know, the porcelain ones, if you try to do them when it's extremely cold out, they like to bust and pop too. Again, I've busted and popped a few of those over the years. Again, I'm not an electrician, folks. I barely do what I can to get along. I usually pay an electrician to do most of my work, but usually hanging a light socket or replacing a light bulb or replacing a switch or replacing an outlet, I can usually do most of that stuff. Let's get the cord attached here before we go get the light bulb and screw it in. Just so we don't have to fight while trying to put this in with the light bulb that we're putting in here. Come on now. I guess I do got to put my eyeballs on. Only problem is when I put my eyeballs in, I don't have the light. So it's a danged if you do, danged if you don't. At one point, I wore bifocals. A couple years ago, I had my cataracts fixed, and they put new lenses in for me. My lenses got put in. The lenses I had put in were the type that allow me to see far away and not necessarily up close. So don't get me wrong. I love being able to see, but when you can't see up close very well, you got to get some reading glasses. I've got some prescription ones that I use most of the time when I'm reading and things like that. But when you're out doing jobs like this for people, or you're getting dirty, working in the shop, I'm working on bikes, anything like that, I like to grab a pair of the readers that I'm using now. The readers I'm using now actually have the magnets at the bridge, which makes it nice to put on and off. I keep them around my neck. I don't lose them very often. We'll get a video about them here sooner or later. I'm going to go turn the light switch on, if I can find it again. Oh, that's not it. Well, these are the switches. Well, it didn't look like it come on that time. So, let's give the pull cord here a pull. There it is, folks. Oh, sorry. I blinded you. Now, with that, let me turn my light off. With that, we put that outlet in, or that light socket. We've shown that it worked. We've almost gotten electrocuted. We popped it, didn't blow a breaker, which kind of bothers me a little bit that it didn't trip a breaker when I arced that. It should have. But again, the 3 different breaker boxes in this house, not quite sure what's what. Finding light switches that work, finding where the power comes from. You can trace wires so far, but you can't always find it. So, this is number 1. I've got 3 more of these to put up, but I don't think I need to bore you guys with that. They're all pretty much the same thing. So, here we are, folks. Again, we're here at Paps. We are Henny Camp Manor. Follow us, folks. See what we're doing. Subscribe to us. Follow us. Hit that little bell so you get the notifications, so you can follow us along, so you can see what we're doing, folks. We are kind of new at this, so if our lighting is not the greatest, if our sound isn't the greatest, bear with us. We're still trying to get this stuff worked out. As you can see, we got some new mics, and these are a lavalier mic that we picked up that are actually working pretty good for us. We haven't had too much problem with them. So, Henny Camp Manor, folks. Follow us. You can hit us up on Facebook and hit us on Instagram. You can leave a message here. Tell me what I did wrong. or to give me pointers as to what I'm doing. Again, I'm not an electrician. I'm a bike mechanic, folks. As my primary goal in life, I'm a bike mechanic. So, again, Handicap Manor, behind the scenes as to what's going on. We've got some good videos coming up. We've got some there. The FEMA has bought a lot of houses around us, so they're demoing them. Just the last couple of days when they demoed the neighbor's house, they hit our house. So you get to see footage of that. That might be on before this one, might be out after this one. I'm not quite sure. Remember, I'm getting my knee surgery September 11th. So after September 11th, if you want to come visit, come hang out. We're the bike shop right next to the post office in Garrett, Kentucky. Love to see you guys. Visit, stop in, visit, talk about bikes, talk about cars, talk about hunting, talk about fishing, we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. We'll even get the Bibles out and have a Bible study if you want to. That's what we'd like to do. So, come see us, folks. Follow us. We love you, folks.